Elton?
Well, I
No.
have quite a few rabbits and wild turkey come through my yard frequently, but I also have a cat that hunts them. So,
Yes.
migration to the park is rough with Salazar around.
Yeah. Well, no. If you do have a question, be sure to unmute. It should be, you'll see a little red mic at the bottom left. There you go. Kathy, did you have a
Well,
question?
hey, I don't have a question. Unfortunately, I had to work a little late and I got in late, so I don't want to make y'all repeat yourself if it's going to be, if I can say it on the YouTube. Did you start out this conversation with the whole reason of why this is happening? I'm sure you did, but
Yeah, we went over a little bit of that, but it's basically the trees are getting to their maximum age and are too dense. And for the Virginia pines, as they get to about the size they were, they need to be thinned out because they will start to die or have more susceptibility to breakage due to the multiple trunks. And that's what we were seeing as a lot of the Virginia pines were breaking and falling over and just really needing to be thinned out so that the trees that are left are healthier and can grow and be a lot healthier. But if the trees are too densely populated, then you are very much more susceptible to diseases or insects like the in the early 2000s there were southern pine beetles that came through a section of the park. They were uh, knocked out in that section, but if they came through again, if you have a denser population of trees, then it's much more difficult to control them. And we do have Epps beetles are on the park. They are a slower moving beetle. They don't impact a forest as quickly, but if you have trees that are unhealthy or stressed, they're much more susceptible to the Epps beetle coming in and causing problems with the trees. And if they're really dense in their population, then you are more likely to have problems with that. And then with also the dense trees, the trees that have fallen, then you are much more susceptible to wildfire danger. And you've seen, of course, a lot of the different things on the news with wildfires out west. And a lot of that was forestry management practices that started 100 years ago, where the trees just were never thinned or there was no prescribed burning through those areas. And then when they had a lot of fuel on the forest floor and conditions got dry and you had a fire, it was not controllable and it just burned everything in the whole forest. So we want to make sure that the forest here is grown to a sustainable manner so we don't have the risk of wildfire and that the trees can grow healthy and we have a better wildlife habitat here. And hopefully we'll get a couple of more wildlife openings. I know people like to come through and watch the deer in the mornings or the evenings, but we'll have now, well, traditionally the ball field is where everybody goes to watch the deer. Now we'll have a couple of wildlife openings where deer can go out and graze. So we'll have a few different spots.
okay.
I think it's also the type of pine trees. It's the ones you see down. Those are the Virginia pines. The ones with all the little tiny pine cones and lots of branches. They just are, they fall easily and they're the ones you see down. So we need to replace those with the loblolly and longleaf pine trees.
Okay. And so there'll be a cleanup, they'll come in, and then do you have an idea of like when the trails and stuff will be open? Did I miss that too?
So we're gonna start working on the trails really this April, and kind of we'll open those up one section at a time. So it's May 15th is when the crew deadline is to be completed. They anticipate being done by then. And then for as like the forest cleanup, we'll have a dozer come in around the picnic area and kind of off of where the nature trail's at and work on cleaning up that area and just kind of work around the park kind of section by section to pile up any of the slash piles for burn off there. And then we'll kind of see our long-term management after we meet with the Anderson County Forestry Commission ranger there when we get our section by section management plan for what's best. But we're just meeting with him after the project is all completed so we can do a full management plan based on what the end result is for each section of forest.
So is
Okay.
it safe to say, Ray, that you expect to see sections start reopening in June?
Yes, yes, we will hopefully have sections that are back open before the end of May. So, and the sections that are hardwood section, say those areas, they're not going in any of the hardwood section. So there's that bit from the boat ramp over to Loop 1 that just cuts through a little section of pine. We don't anticipate that being heavily affected. So we think you'll be able to get from Loop 1 or the primitive area over to the boat ramp pretty quickly over there. Whereas the kind of the sections that are back behind the rec building over there, that one might take a little while to get that one back open. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But we hopefully can get that section between the primitive area and the office. Hopefully we can get that all the way done in April, and hopefully be able to get across the street and start working kind of from the office back over towards the Smith home site and get that area done kind of somewhere in there. I don't know if we'll make it that whole way, but we'll get as far as we can in that month, and then we'll kind of reestablish kind of see where we're at for staffing, and then get the next rental lined up for the trail equipment. But we'll definitely have opportunities for a couple of trail days. But a lot of the major work, we're going to try to do all that with machinery, and but small machinery. The excavator has a 39-inch wide blade on it, so it's a smaller excavator, 3,500 pound. We're going to use that size machine or smaller, so that it is just basically just clearing what's going to be on the trail tread, what you'd be walking or riding by on your bike. So it's not a huge swath through the trail. It'll be like the dozer that we're getting in, that we're not going to use that for trail construction. That's just going to be for moving brush around. We're not going to be digging anything with that. We're just moving brush. So it's a low impact trail construction, but something that'll be sustainable, and you just do a lot of work with machinery. I've done a lot of trail work by hand, and it's pretty tough. So to get an opportunity to get machinery in to help with the project is greatly appreciated.
And we will put the call out for volunteers to come and help with that when you need us.
I'll be there.
And I know, also just a reminder, I know you have an opening for a assistant ranger, right?
Yes, that's correct. So what we're looking for right now is assistant rangers, is somebody to work over basically our summer season. And they do a variety of tasks, from checking in campers to taking admissions. So working in the office, working some light maintenance around the park, that kind of stuff. We'd be able to be good with computers and be able to make reservations and those type of things. And they'll work on the weekends and holidays is when we'll primarily have a lot of people on the park. So that's when we need to get all hands on deck. But we've got a few hosts on staff, but we're looking to get a couple of assistant rangers in for the summer. So if anybody is interested, we are taking applications.
And they would contact you. All right, so we're gonna, if anybody doesn't have any more questions, or if you do, reach out to Ray directly. You can get the information on our website and on our Facebook page. And if you have any topics you'd like to hear about, let us know and we'll schedule some more of these. All right, anybody else have any final questions? Because it's about time for Jeopardy. I was just informed. So, all right, everybody. So we will put this on YouTube. Please share with everybody. And if you have any questions, just reach out, let us know. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
All right, well, have a good evening.
Okay.